Whether you're bikepacking and towing a trailer behind your bicycle or towing a child carrier like this used to be, one item that sometimes gets overlooked in terms of maintenance is the wheel, or the hub to be more specific, on a trailer or child carrier. In this video I'll show you what's involved in looking after a hub. This can be a source of significant friction, especially a concern if you're going long distances, especially if you're towing a lot of weight, your camping gear behind you. So I have taken the wheel from the opposite side off, and I will take that one apart in front of your eyes, or at least partially. But I want to start with the one that I have taken apart. This is how the hub looks like. Here are the bearings, I'll show you. So the bearings were just press fit into the hub on this particular model. I will post the wheel sizes and the bearing sizes as well in the video's description box below. If your sizes are different, cartridge bearings still fit hubs much the same way, and they need the same tools as well. So these bearings were press fit. This is the rusty side. This rusty bearing was press fit in here, and the other bearing was press fit in the opposite side. And this axle here was running through, of course, the middle of the hub, through the middle of both of these bearings, like so, one on one side, the other on the other. And then there are three items here. This wavy washer was covering, well, it was here against that bearing there, and then this flat washer was there, and this rusty circlip was in this groove. So that's all the removal. Circlip comes out, these two washers slide off. This axle needed a fair bit of sanding with sandpaper in order to let it slide through the bearings, and a little bit of tapping, and then the axle comes out, and then the bearings also were tapped out from the hub. I'll show you how it goes. Very straightforward, needing minimal tools. But before I do that, I want to point out something with these bearings. These bearings are fair weather bearings. This seal on this cartridge bearing here, I removed one from this rusty, is a dust seal. This dust seal is never meant to be in water of any amount. This dust seal does not provide a proper seal beyond just keeping most of the dust out. It doesn't provide a proper seal between the outer raceway and the inner raceway. And you can see this especially spectacular where you can see through the bearing, and I'm just gonna get you a nice close-up on this one. You can see air between the edge of the seal there, about in front of my index finger there. So this is outer raceway, inner raceway. So between the inner raceway and the edge of the seal you can see air through everywhere. So this is not meant to be watertight whatsoever. That gap that you're looking at allows, of course, water to come inside the bearing, and these bearings are seized up. It's not spinning, it's toast. Same for the other one, of course. So it's not spinning. It should. A better bearing looks like this, with rubber seals. This is metal backed rubber seal, and it's got soft edges towards the outer raceway as well as towards the inner raceway, very soft like that, see? And this rubber also interlocks with a groove on the inner raceway, kinda thereabouts underneath my finger, and a groove on the, but that's machined into the outer raceway as well, there. So when this rubber seal is in place, this one is waterproof. Now it needs to be properly placed. You can see the the edge transitioning, going into the groove at this point here. So the bearing comes with the rubber seal properly placed into it. You don't have to do this, just have to get the proper size and tap it in place. So I'll show you what's involved in removing the bearings. The wheel in this case is retained with a pin that looks like this, any one of these, like a very straightforward wheel pin, like so. And then the wheel, the hub, everything slides out like so. What you're looking at, it looks like the axle is rotating. Yeah, kinda. The bearing still might be seized up underneath. So let's see if I can remove that rusty circlip. I'm aware you may not have a good view at all times necessarily if my hand gets in the way. Sorry about that. So there's the plain washer and the spring washer. This second washer is not defective, it's a spring washer that's shaped like that. So that's that. At this point the rust there prevents the axle from sliding easily through, hence a little bit of sandpaper action is needed on it, something like that. That's how I got those marks in the sandpaper. Nothing overly complicated, yes. And then it may need to be started with a little bit of hammering, but this is just on my knees right now. There, like literally, seriously on my knees like this, so there's nothing, no other support for it, and just comes out like so. We'll give it a little more cleaning. It's not beautiful, but it's gonna be more functional. Alright, now what we have is the two bearings. So I have a metal push rod here that I can use. In this case it's an extension, a hardened steel socket extension, and I'm gonna place it in on an angle, a slight angle, pushing this bearing out on the opposite side. Again, this is on my lap, and I'm gonna go tap on the bearing at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock on the bearing down here. So one tap there, one tap there, one there, one there. Let's look at the progress. Yeah, it's coming out. This is the rustier of the two. It started to move out of the housing there. Very straightforward, and it does not need excessive tapping or excessive force. Yeah, it's definitely coming along. So I also want to make it advance evenly without potentially cracking the hub. So the next step is going to be on this side, because this one is sticking out less than that side. There we go. So that's one rusty bearing out, and yes, it's also seized up. No miracles here. Like I said, I'll post the bearings designation that works for this kind of hub on this size of wheel in the video's description box below. Now the other bearing also comes out much the same way. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And it doesn't need huge force either for tapping it out. And because I don't want to mushroom out, I don't want to destroy the socket or the socket extension. There. So that's about all the time it takes and all the effort it takes. It doesn't need any more banging. So also sees the piece of garbage. Now to install the new bearing in, the new bearing will install with the same tapping in about the same time. You need to find a round socket or a round object that presses the bearing in only by the outside. Make sure the seal doesn't get dented, nicked, compromised in any other way. If it leaks in air, if it leaks in water, it's not going to be any good to anybody, or if it's bent out of shape. So that's why you need to find an appropriate large enough object that presses the bearing only on the outside, and then again 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, you get the idea, and it goes in just friction fit, but only by the outside, because small bearings can be installed just by tapping like so without a problem. So that's what's involved. I don't think I'm gonna bother with this one. It's I don't know, I might. As is, it's pretty close to going to the dumpster because the canopy has disintegrated enough. It's aging, tearing, disintegrating, so I think I might keep the frame. I might keep the wheels as well, why not? But can't do anything about this really ugly rim too much. No, sanding it down is not gonna help it too much either, but I don't know, maybe I'll keep it for, I don't know. But that's what's involved, very straightforward. Thank you very much for watching.